Alright folks, welcome back. Today we're diving deep into a world most of us only see in movies, the world behind bars. We're talking about the intricate hierarchy that exists within prison walls, specifically the crimes that can earn you respect, or get you ostracized, or worse. We're talking about the unwritten rules, the power dynamics, and the brutal realities of life in the slammer. You see, prison is a pressure cooker. You throw a bunch of people together in a confined space, strip them of their freedom, and add a dash of violence and despair, and you've got yourself a recipe for a whole different kind of society. In this world, respect is everything. It's the currency you use to survive. And the crimes you committed on the outside, well, they can make or break you in here. Over the next few minutes, we're going to break down the hierarchy of crime and punishment in the joint. We'll explore the crimes that land you at the top, the ones that put you at the bottom, and everything in between. So buckle up because this is going to be a wild ride. At the top of the food chain, you've got your murderers. These are the guys who've taken a life, who've crossed that ultimate line. Now, I'm not condoning murder, not by a long shot. But in the twisted logic of the prison system, taking a life earns a certain kind of respect. It's about fear, man. These guys have proven they're capable of extreme violence, that they're not afraid to get their hands dirty. They're the apex predators in this concrete jungle. Other inmates, even those who've committed serious crimes, give them a wide berth. They know that messing with a murderer is like poking a caged lion. It's just not worth the risk. And it's not just about fear, it's about respect, too. Twisted, I know, but hear me out. In a place where violence is a constant threat, having someone who's not afraid to throw hands on your side can be a valuable asset. It's a messed up kind of logic, but it's the reality of prison life. Think about it like this. You're in a pack of wolves, right? The alpha male, the one who leads the pack, it's not always the biggest or the strongest. It's the one who's willing to fight the dirtiest, the one who's not afraid to draw blood. That's how it is in prison. The murderers, they're the alpha wolves. Now, not all murderers are created equal. The guys who killed in cold blood, the ones who planned it out, they're usually held in higher regard than the guys who snapped in a moment of passion. It's all about control, you see. The cold-blooded killers, they're seen as being in control of their emotions, in control of the situation. And in a place like prison, where chaos reigns supreme, control is a valuable commodity. But even the most respected murderer has to watch his back. There's always someone younger, stronger, or more ruthless looking to make a name for themselves. It's a dangerous game and the stakes are higher than ever. Next up, you got your drug dealers. These guys are the hustlers, the entrepreneurs of the prison system. They're the ones who can get you what you need, whether it's cigarettes, drugs, or even a smuggled cell phone. And in a place where you're stripped of pretty much everything, having access to those kinds of luxuries can make you a powerful figure. Now, drug dealers, they're not necessarily feared in the same way that murderers are, but they are respected, and they're definitely sought after. They have access to resources, man. They've got connections on the outside, ways of getting things in and out of the prison. That makes them valuable allies and dangerous enemies. Think about it. You're stuck in a cage, right? You're cut off from the outside world, from your family, from everything you know. And then this guy comes along and he's got a way to get you a little taste of freedom, a little reminder of what you're missing. That's power, man. But it's a risky business, no doubt about it. Getting caught with contraband can land you in solitary confinement or worse. And then there's the issue of debt. If you owe a drug dealer money and you can't pay, well, let's just say it's not going to be pretty. It's a constant game of cat and mouse, with the guards trying to shut down the drug trade and the dealers finding ever more ingenious ways to keep it going. It's a testament to human ingenuity, really, how these guys operate under such intense pressure. They're like the sharks of the prison ecosystem, always circling, always looking for an opportunity. And just like sharks, they can smell weakness a mile away. If you're not careful, they'll bleed you dry. Chapter 3. Snitches. Now, on the flip side of respect, you've got the snitches. These are the guys who've broken the cardinal rule of prison. You do not rat on your fellow inmates, no matter what. Snitches are universally despised, seen as the lowest of the low. Think about it, you're in this pressure cooker environment, right? Everyone's looking out for themselves, trying to survive. And then you've got this guy who's willing to throw someone else under the bus just to save his own skin. It's the ultimate betrayal. Snitches are often targeted for violence, both by the inmates they informed on and by other prisoners who want to make an example of them. They live in constant fear, always looking over their shoulder. In some cases, they might even be placed in protective custody for their own safety, which is basically like being in prison within a prison. But it's not just about physical safety. Snitches are ostracized, shunned by the general population. Nobody wants to be associated with them for fear of being labeled a snitch themselves. They eat alone, they exercise alone, they spend most of their time in solitary confinement. It's a lonely existence. And the worst part is, even if they do manage to survive their sentence, the label of snitch follows them long after they're released. It can be incredibly difficult to reintegrate into society when you've got that kind of reputation. So why do people snitch? Sometimes it's out of fear, sometimes it's for a reduced sentence, and sometimes it's because they genuinely believe they're doing the right thing. But whatever the reason, the consequences are always severe. Chapter 4. Pedophiles, the lowest of the low. And then, at the very bottom of the prison hierarchy, you have the pedophiles. These are the guys who've committed crimes against children, and they are universally reviled. Even hardened criminals who've committed heinous acts draw the line at harming children. Pedophiles are considered the scum of the earth, even by other criminals. They're seen as a threat to the most vulnerable members of society, and there's absolutely no tolerance for them within the prison walls. They are often subjected to the most brutal forms of violence, both physical and psychological. They're targeted for beatings, stabbings, and even sexual assault. It's a grim reality, but it's the price they pay for their crimes. Prison officials often have to keep pedophiles in protective custody for their own safety, as they are constantly at risk of being attacked by other inmates. But even in protective custody, they're not safe. Word gets around and they can still be targeted by guards or other inmates who have access to them. It's a bleak existence, and it's a stark reminder of the consequences of these horrific crimes. There's no redemption for pedophiles in prison, no second chances. They are judged harshly for their actions and forced to live out their days in fear and isolation. It's a difficult subject to talk about, but it's an important one. Pedophilia is a serious problem, and it's one that we need to address head-on. We need to protect our children and ensure that those who harm them are brought to justice. So there you have it, folks. A glimpse into the dark underbelly of the prison system, where respect is a matter of life and death, and the crimes you committed on the outside follow you like a shadow. It's a brutal, unforgiving world, where only the strong survive. We've seen how murderers, often feared for their capacity for violence, sit atop this hierarchy. Drug dealers, with their access to resources and connections, hold a certain sway. Snitches, on the other hand, are ostracized and live in constant fear of retribution. And then there are the pedophiles who occupy the lowest rung of the ladder, subjected to unimaginable brutality. This hierarchy, though unwritten, is deeply ingrained in the fabric of prison culture. It's a testament to the human capacity for both good and evil, and a stark reminder that even in the darkest of places, a code of conduct prevails. In conclusion, this video has shed light on the top 4 crimes that garner respect or disdain within the complex social hierarchy of inmates: murder, drug dealing, snitching, and pedophilia. Murderers are often feared and respected for their perceived power and violence, while drug dealers may be admired for their perceived wealth and influence. Snitches face harsh repercussions as they betray the unwritten code of loyalty, leading to widespread contempt. The despicable crime of pedophilia elicits universal revulsion and is considered the lowest of the low among inmates. Understanding these dynamics provides valuable insights into the intricate social dynamics of correctional facilities and the unwavering adherence to a unique moral code that defines inmate culture.